All right, everybody, welcome back to the Not Fancy League. As always, I'm Rob,
And I'm Tyler.
and we are coming at you live post week 6, going into week 7. This is a Friday edition of the Not Fancy League. I got kind of bogged down at work, and I didn't want to do the video. But I had a great day today, so I was feeling pumped to be able to do the video, get it out here today. Do you got anything to say as we intro this video, Tyler?
It's a new week, no guests this week, but now maybe
Yeah.
some different vibes, some Friday weekend vibes instead of work vibes.
Maybe a chiller version of the already chill Not Fancy League. That's what I would say.
I like it.
But to start it off, we're not going to start with the standings update. We're going to start with. That's right. We have a real trade in our league. It is absolutely crazy that someone did a trade. It was me that did the trade. I'll throw the full details in right here. And you can let us know what you think about it. Let us know who you think won the trade. As you can see, I kind of picked a direction here. And as for Theo, he picked a direction as well. He's going all the way in this year. He's first in his division. So I think the trade worked out for both sides. It was pretty easy to get done. Tyler, any thoughts on this trade? Like, if you had to grade the trade, what would it look like?
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw that trade early, I believe Wednesday morning. I saw it got approved, maybe it was a Thursday morning. I know Theo is throwing out some others, trying to just really build in for a win now process. And yeah, I mean, Tyreek Hill's 30 right now, but he's scoring a lot of points, his touchdown rate's only 6% or something, very small compared to the other top receivers. So if expect that go back to the normal, so you can even get more points, which would be scary. But then you got DJ Moore, who also doesn't score touchdowns, but is a young guy, and I mean, if you could ever get a quarterback, you got 2 first-round picks. I think it's a very good trade.
Yeah.
I think it's I would say around somewhere in the B range. It's a good trade for both teams moving forward.
Yeah, when I was looking at all the different receivers that I might want to get, because I wanted to get a younger receiver and picks for Tyreek. That was what I wanted. I wanted a guy that I could actually start next year and he'd be good. And in my mind, DJ Moore, when he gets traded, is going to go right back up to being a wide receiver 2 type range guy. So I think, and depending on where he goes, he could be even better. Like if he goes to the Packers, he's the number 1 option immediately. So it just kind of depends on where he ends up going. But yeah, I thought it was good just to make a trade, just to kind of pick a direction. Plus, I get 2 first-round picks next year. I think that's interesting. I don't know what I'm going to do with those picks, but I have them. All right, so
it's going to be interesting how important picks are going to be moving forward, because you do get to keep a lot of players, but with the rookie draft too.
Yeah, I don't totally know.
So yeah, we'll go to the standings.
Yes.
Standings, we still got, it's pretty much shaped up from the same as last week, I believe. We got 2 4-2 teams in the East with Rock, the team that just traded with Payne and McManus, and then Rock Springs Football Club. And then going over the West, 2 playoff teams with Arias finally taking his first loss.
Finally,
and then also Wards DeMarco Murray. It seems like the West now has officially had its two teams, because it looked like you could maybe make a push, but you made your decision. You want to build for the future. There was last week I was deciding maybe let me just make a rogue shout and see if I can make it. Now looking like it's 2 games behind, probably going to lose this week. I'm probably just going to start building and see if I can probably get that 2nd overall pick. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, the league pretty much stayed the same this week.
Pretty much. It's not that the 4 teams at the top have separated, because they're not totally gone. But I think after my trade, I think there was definitely a line in the sand of where teams are going to start going. Like, Squigs is still going to try. I was talking to my dad, and the Standard, he's still going to try. But his team is just so young. Like, I was talking to him about his quarterbacks, and he's extremely excited about his 2 quarterbacks. He has Lawrence and Pickett. So they're both really young guys. It takes time for quarterbacks to develop. In 2 years' time, he could arguably have 2 top 5 quarterbacks. There's no way you could say that that's not necessarily true, because you don't know what it turns into. But he's really excited about that. He's got a younger team. But yeah, it's like I said, you're kind of starting to see the playoffs take shape. And I think it's going to be a very thrilling playoffs, because you legitimately have 4 teams. I think any of these 4 teams can win it. No one's separated from the rest of the pack, where they're by themselves, better than everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, and then with last week, Blasi taking the loss, he kind of has a fast track for the number 1 overall pick. So yeah, it should be interesting. Kind of just a middle group where we're going to just form out.
Yeah, just because it's going to be weird to see where the draft order comes in. And then the biggest wrinkle of all is going to be the week where you get to choose your matchup. I don't know if we talked about this at all before on this.
I don't
on
think
any
so.
of these videos. So the last week before the playoffs, the team that's in last place can pick who they want to play. The team that's in second to last place can pick who they want to play, and so on. It's going to be called the catch-up week, and where the team that's in third in their division can choose to play the team that's in second or to choose to play the worst team so they can try to get. I guess you wouldn't be able to choose the worst team because they already picked, but you can choose the guy directly in front of you to try to catch that guy and actually make the playoffs, which I think is going to be an interesting wrinkle if there was an actual playoff battle coming down to the end of the season.
Yeah, that should be fun if it gets nice and close towards the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And who knows what happens? Like maybe Adrian falls apart and one of these spots becomes open. Like who has any idea at all? So yeah,
I agree.
All right, yeah.
So yeah, going into the L's of the week, I had two options. I had Dalton Schultz or Mike Williams. Mike Williams, in another league, I needed him to get 5 points, or not even, I think like 4 points, and I lost by like less than a point. It was so annoying.
That's so bad.
He just got guarded by Surtain, I believe, on the Broncos.
Yeah,
he
got
just covered
absolutely locked down. Yeah, because there's no other receivers. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Dalton Schultz, he was questionable all week, and then Sunday and Saturday he got turned to healthy, and then he got turned 20 minutes before the game. He was just out. It was just so weird. I didn't get that. So yeah, those are my 2 L of the weeks, Rob.
So for my L of the week, I'm gonna have to go with the Rock Springs Football Club coaching decisions. That they decided this week not to go with the second quarterback. They had 2 quarterbacks on their bench go absolutely off, Matt Ryan and Marcus Mariota. Both score over 24 points. And then he went with the decision to go with Gerald Everett over Mike Gesicki. And I get that there wasn't a lot of receivers in for the Chargers, but the Broncos defense is pretty good. Minnesota got lit up by Mike Gesicki. He caught 2 touchdowns. So he could have won this week and beat a really good Where's DeMarco Murray team if he started those guys.
Yeah, it was definitely rough. And now it looks like Gesicki in real life might get traded from the Dolphins, so that'll be
I
interesting.
didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, he's apparently on the block. So see if maybe he's maybe a trade target for some people if they think he'd be a nice landing spot. Be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to our MVP of the week. I have a guy that is a Patriots running back. And for the most part, Patriots running backs aren't really worth having in fantasy football. But Ramondre Stevenson's had a great 2 weeks here. He had over 24 points, I think, this week, 2 touchdowns. Absolutely monster game. A big reason why Payne and the McManus got their win this week because their quarterbacks weren't really that good. But Stevenson stepped up big time.
And then, mine was the Ja'Marr Chase, Joe Burrow connection. He wore the Ja'Marr Chase's LSU jersey going back back home, and they balled out like they did at LSU. That's why I drafted Ja'Marr Chase, gained 32 points, leading myself to a victory, dominating in 1-16. So cool guy over here. But that's why you get him for those blowout games, and it seems like they're maybe getting the connection back.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. That's like I was waiting to kind of see that because Joe Burrow was fine, but when Ja'Marr Chase is going, Joe Burrow's going, and when it's a lot of fun when they're both doing it at the same time.
I agree. And then to lead in talking about Ja'Marr Chase, we'll go to the basically the pick for first overall pick, Blassie versus me.
Pretty much, yeah.
What really helped one of the players basically was Ja'Marr Chase dropping the 32 points because it was 110-90, and both of our teams, at least I can speak for my team, pretty much underperformed most everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, did anybody even hit their projections other than Ja'Marr? Cortland Sutton was terrible. Zach Ertz, there you go. He had a big Zach Ertz game. Yeah. Jeff Wilson hurts, and Jeff Wilson's irrelevant now because CMC's on the Niners.
Yeah.
So that's just everything. I have Elijah Mitchell, so he's also completely irrelevant now. So that's Or maybe they have a 3-headed backfield because they're the Niners and that's what they do. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all of that shapes out. But yeah, no one really in this game I'm seeing did much anything beyond Ja'Marr, and that's the reason that you won. Geno Smith was an interesting pickup. Maybe if he has a good game, they're able to do something. But yeah, the Dalton Schultz, Garrett Wilson thing, it all kind of hurts. So moving on to our next game. I'm just going to move on to the next game, if that's all right with you.
Go ahead.
We got Squigs versus Money Manziel. And this was a week where I thought I was going to make a trade before the week happened, and I ended up not making a trade until afterwards. And then Tyreek Hill went crazy, Mark Andrews went crazy, and Joe Burrow went crazy. So I scored a lot of points this week, and I looked really, really good. Fields actually had a pretty serviceable game. And then as for Team Squigs, other than Stephon Diggs, nobody really showed up at all. Just kind of everyone kind of fell flat. Stephon is actually, I just looked this up, number one position player in fantasy football, Stephon Diggs. So he's been absolutely stellar. But kind of the tale for Team Squigs, no one else stepped up except for the number one fantasy player.
Yeah, Joe Mixon did what he was supposed to do. He got himself 16, which was projected. But yeah, that was just a rough week. Like I was saying, Mike Williams only getting 3 points. That's kind of who he is. It's a boom or bust player.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was just a bad week overall for them.
Yeah.
Going into the next game, we got Payne and McManus versus the Standard, with McManus dropping 139 points. I think probably the most in the league this week. And then you got Patrick Mahomes doing his job, underperforming. But really the running backs, really the headliners. Like we talked about Ramondre, you said the MVP of the week, and then Saquon dropping 18. Really just a solid performance from everyone.
Yeah, and to me, this was like a down week for Payne and the McManus, and they still dropped 140. I guess mostly to their defense and kicker combining for 26 points, because Lamar and Mahomes both weren't amazing, and his receivers underperformed, and Tyler Higbee dropped under 2 points, and still he comes out, drops 140, most points in the league. I've not seen anybody more aggressive on the trade market than Trich. I see him sending trades constantly. I had a lot of discussions with him about he's trying to get Mark Andrews from me. I'm going to say Mark Andrews is not on the block. I'm not trying to move Mark Andrews. But, man, if he had Mark Andrews on this team, it would look pretty good. But I don't think there's anything that...
a juggernaut team.
The only thing I would take is Mahomes. So if you can give me Mahomes, then maybe I would consider.
And he still has 2 of them to come in.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
The Standard, they got T-Law like we were talking about doing well. And then... not much else pretty much from the rest of the team.
Yeah, just not a ton there. Yeah, moving on to the next game, we got Fields of Dreams versus Team Arias. Team Arias losing their very first game. Not actually a down week for Team Arias. His running backs didn't do that well. But Josh Allen, Michael Pittman, Devontae Smith continue to outperform their projections, and that's been the story for him all year. Those guys have been really, really good. Josh Allen's just an absolute animal. But for Fields of Dreams, Austin Eckler is awesome. He's the number one fantasy running back right now. A big reason why he's in contention to be able to get into the playoffs. He's in that East Division. So it's like that one's kind of tight up at the top, where he has a chance to kind of get in, and he could really benefit from that week where he gets to choose somebody to play. Because he's got all these guys that are ready to win now, and he really showed this week when he took down what seemed like a juggernaut in Team Arias.
Yeah, definitely be interesting to see, especially for him, who he's going to pick, if he gets to pick somebody, especially how it plays out. But yeah, solid performance. George Kittle came back, doing his thing. And just, almost other than the defense and a couple other players, really solid performance. Team Arias,
yeah, for sure.
The running backs, you need some running back help, so I would probably trade for that. Wide receivers doing all right. And then, it's just a down week for him. Going to the final game. The game of the week, basically, going into this week, Where's Marco Murray beating Rock Springs Football Club.
Yes.
2 of the playoff teams. We'll probably see them playing each other maybe in the playoffs.
They would be in the championship if they did meet again.
True, yeah. This was a solid week. Alex leading by what he gets led by with C-Mac and Leonard Fournette, just 2 dominant running backs. And getting some help with Travis Kelce, and Devin Singletary formed a little bit.
Yeah, she looked good. And I think Devin Singletary won the Christian McCaffrey trade because he didn't go to the Bills. Because if he went to the Bills, he would have lost that job immediately. I still think that would have been the coolest thing to ever happen is if he went to the Bills. But I kind of understand that maybe they think Singletary's enough. He's having his best season I think he's had in a long time. So he actually looks pretty good. DeMarco Murray needs his he needs his receivers to come back. Drake London and Michael Gallup, those aren't the guys that you're going to have when you win. So he needs Devontae Adams. I guess he was on a bye. He needs Adams back, but he needs to find that other receiver. Because Keenan Allen's been hurt, but there's nobody else there that I'm seeing that's really it. Isaiah McKenzie, 3 points. He's not that guy. He needs one more. And as for the Rock Springs Football Club, this is just a case when you have all those running backs that aren't really doing that well, and he didn't start that second quarterback. He could have won this game this week if he started that second quarterback, but he went with Tyler Lockett, who dropped 4 points, and that's a 20-point difference. That's the difference in the win this week. That's why you're on the L of the week, Theo.
All right, there we go.
All right, so moving into our Week 6 preview, let's first look at our rankings. It's
picks of the week.
Picks of the week. I don't know what we're calling these.
Got some separation this week.
Yeah, a little bit of separation. Tyler, what you went 4-1, and
I
went
4-1,
2-3.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now the records are.
I'm down a little bit right now. Things are not looking great, but I mean, I still have faith that I'll come back. So going into our first pick here, we got myself playing Team Blasi. As you can see, this is after the Thursday night game, so you kind of have some idea about where you're at. I'm going to pick myself this week. Chris Olave had a really, really good start. As you can see, I'm kind of short on receivers since I traded Tyreek Hill, but I still think my team is better than Team Blasi, and I'll be able to pull out a win this week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you. Get a bounce back game. I'm not going to pick a team that hasn't won a game yet, so that's my strategy.
That's not a bad strategy at all.
Yeah, going to the next week or next game, we got the Standard at 2-4 versus Field of Dreams at 3-3, and this game is supposed to be a good one. It's supposed to be projected pretty close, but I'm going to go Field of Dreams in this one. I think Field of Dreams is going to.
Field of Dreams. Yeah. Fields of Dreams. This would be a big win for Fields of Dreams. If they're able to get this, that means that they're going to stay right there in their hunt to be able to make the playoffs. But this is an even bigger game for the Standard. If the Standard drops to 2-5, it's not that they're going to be out of the playoffs, but their odds of being able to make the playoffs goes down significantly. So the Standard needs to get a win this week. So I'm going to ride with the Standard because he's got an actual quarterback back. Dak Prescott is back and healthy. That's a big difference. So
definitely,
I'm going to ride with the Standard this week. Maybe his team comes together.
Okay. Let's see what happens. Going to the next game, we got myself, the Danger Witches, 2-4 versus Payne McManus, as we talked about a lot in this show so far, at 4-2. And since we Friday showing helped out a little bit, we got both my two players, Kyler Murray and Zach Ertz, underperforming. With 2 pick sixes, it's kind of hard for the offense to get going. So yeah, I'm going to go put Payne and McManus on that one.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ride the same way. I think Payne and McManus is going to get this done. They're a very, very well put together team. They got all 3 running backs playing this week. They got Saquon, Stevenson, and DeAndre Swift to go along with the 2 quarterbacks, Mahomes and Lamar. Everybody's playing. They're at full strength pretty much here. So I'm going to go with Payne and McManus.
Yeah,
and then moving on to where's DeMarco Murray versus Team Squigs. So as I was saying, this is it was a big game for a team kind of caught in the middle. This is a big game for Team Squigs. And they had a really, really good first performance from the return of DeAndre Hopkins. So the only thing is, when you look at the 2 quarterbacks, one team clearly has better quarterbacks. So I'm going to go, where's DeMarco Murray? He's been on an absolute hot streak recently. Devonta Adams back from the bye. Christian McCaffrey on San Francisco for the first time. You get to see it. So I'm going to go with where's DeMarco Murray this week.
I'm actually going to go with Team Squiz. I don't think Christian McCaffrey's going to play that often this week. I think they got to figure out the playbook and everything. I mean, he'll play, but I don't know the limited snaps or how that's going to be played. And you got D-Hop already overperforming this week, so I'm going to go Team Squigs pulling out a win here.
Look at that. All right. And then moving on to our game of the week, we have the teams at the top of their respective divisions. It is Rock Springs Football Club versus Team Arias. Rock Springs Football Club just off their recent addition of Tyreek Hill. Their team's going to look really, really good. He's not in the lineup right now, and Cooper Kupp's on a bye. So this is kind of a down week for Rock Springs Football Club. But I'm still going to pick him. I think they have a very talented roster. He's actually going to start 2 quarterbacks this week. So I'm going to go with Rock Springs Football Club, going to 5-2.
Yeah, I'm going with you right there. Just looking at the quarterbacks we talked about a little earlier, Mac Jones coming back, if he's even going to play, is a Bailey Zappi. And it's also playing Chicago at Monday night. It's going to be a gross game. It's kind of mean what they're doing. And then Jimmy G, we'll see how that plays out. But then you got Tom Brady, who, I don't know, he's been trashed on, but every time somebody trashes on him for multiple weeks, usually bad things happen to the other team.
He's also playing Carolina.
So maybe it's the end of the year, but also I'm not going to go against Tom Brady right here.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to go Rock Springs, taking the win. Adrian's second loss.
No Josh Allen for Team Arias is going to be a big deal. Oh,
yeah.
There you go. That flashed up. Thanks, everyone that got to see that thing. We got 10 minutes left. The thing just popped up. But I think we're actually done anyway. That was our game of the week. So yeah, no interview this week. We'll have an interview next week. We're going to try to get through all of you guys so you can have a chance to talk to the league. Sorry that this was kind of a short notice video today. So we just didn't really reach out to anybody. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, Best Roast gets $5. Tyler, you got anything?
Yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, guys.